communications. This meeting are being
Sorry.
recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. Just to note, all members of the commission in attendance tonight are remote. We have 3 official items on the agenda. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest? For the first one, because there's 4 voting members. First one, which is a continuation. Marianne, would you be the 5th voting member for that one?
I will.
Okay. And Eric, would you be the 5th voting member for 48 Cottage Street?
Yes.
And Eric, I'll ask you again, be the 5th member for 226 Main.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, we can start with 66 Lincoln Street, continuation.
Hello. Glad that guy was gone. That was crazy.
Is he a friend of yours? Or?
So did you want me to share my screen again? Like last
Yes,
time?
that'd be great.
Okay. Share screen. Host disabled screen
Oh,
sharing.
wait a minute. Hold on.
Sorry if you can hear our 1-year-old in the background.
That's okay. It doesn't make any difference. Here we go.
There we go. Okay. So this is a few, there's 1 new item, and then the other is revisiting past things that we've talked about. And I've listed it here. So we've got the wooden shutters to the front. We got the exact shutters from Gary. So that was so we have the exact shutters, so you can see that, and then also the exact hardware. And then updated paint colors, which I know we pretty much talked to Andrea about anyway. And then we got the hardscape information from the landscape architect. And then as we were framing through things inside, we realized that for proper head height, we need a dormer in the back, and you can see a tiny bit of it from the road. So we've included it here. We feel that it's a very minimal change to the outside.
There's an existing dormer.
There's an existing dormer that we're just extending a little bit. So, so with that said, just the site plan again, here's before and after. There were some questions on why it says 2.8 and 2.8, but the shutters are only 1 foot wide, and that's because the glass is 2 feet. So the 2 foot 8 is with the trim, but the glass itself is 2 feet. So that's why the shutters are 1 foot, because they're half of the glass width.
Gary's advised you on that, the size?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I don't know that we've talked specifically about the size, but I'm fairly like, in that sense, I've researched a lot, and I know it's supposed to be half of the glass width. That's like a typical.
I think that's true.
Okay. And then
Vendor would be in a position though to also advise you, to confirm what Gary said. But the vendor of the shutters and the hardware would probably
Yeah.
be in a position to substantiate that.
Yep.
Because it's so
Yes.
prominent on the front of the house, you want it
True.
right.
pristine.
Perfect.
accurate.
Yes. Yes. Of
Precise.
course. We're using the exact person Gary suggested. He suggested one person, and that's who we're going with. So So that's about the shutters. This is a continuation of last time with a drawing of the fence. And you guys wanted to see, so here are the exact shutters. Here's the exact shutter hardware. And here are the exact shutter scrolls.
Perfect.
And then this is the fence for across the driveway because people wanted to see the fence. So I should talk about the fence here. So I wanted to ask what you all thought of the fence situation, because there is a fence in the front currently that is falling apart, and I feel like it's making the entire house look a little more disheveled than it should. So my goal in doing the fence to the right that was a privacy fence was to play off of that and make it a white fence like that one. But then after comments from last week about, not necessarily wanting lots of fences up, and I totally understand that, because like communities that have lots of huge fences, privacy fences, can be a lot. So I felt that like a black aluminum fence would hide a little better. So I'm proposing it to the group. I'm willing to do something different if that's what you guys, if you don't agree with it. I think you'll like the drawing. My only concern with the black fence is that it doesn't match the fence that's currently there. So I've put in there a question, like, could we remove that fence that's in front? Should we paint it black also? It's a question to the group because I want your input on it. I feel like maybe they should match, but maybe they don't have to. So I'd love your insight onto that.
Want to just point out the areas we're talking about again?
Yep. So you can see it right here. If you can see my cursor, it's following along this here. And then our landscape architect had a great idea of the gate and then making this wall, this stone wall, continue on this side so that it's framing the driveway a little better. So it steps down, gate, and then steps up again onto another stone wall on the side.
Why don't we,
Sorry?
I was gonna say, why don't we talk about the materials and the location separately? I think the materials being the more important thing right here.
Okay.
You're talking about aluminum.
Well, while you're on that plan though, can you just go back and clarify, because our color is a little harder to, our copy's not in color, so
Yeah.
can you just run through like what's F, what's G, J, like what are those elements?
What?
Oh,
That's sort of
that's
part two of the conversation. That's more towards like the patio.
yeah. So it's what our landscape architect used to identify specific areas. So F is a lounging area.
Okay, yeah, that I just meant like
Dining
what are the materials? Like I could tell that one is like where F is up there, F, D, and E against the house looks to be bluestone, but then what is it when you come, looks like the steps down into something and that's another material, and then maybe it steps down again. And then is B a pool?
Yes. So B is a pool. We're not necessarily requesting that now, although we would like to have it approved. We're not planning on building the pool, but I think we are planning on hopefully having a pool plan approved at some point. So just so we can hand it over to the new owner and say, here's a pool that has already been approved by the Historic Commission. Like we want to go through that pain for them.
I don't
Not
think
pain,
that's
but you know what I mean? Like the process.
The time and the process.
Yes, the time and the process for them. In terms of the different materials, that is probably a mistake on our landscape architect's part. We would just be doing bluestone and matching the current patio that's there
Okay.
on both levels.
Did we, Tracy, I don't have the history. I know we've done piecemeal approvals, but I thought we approved once, like bringing the bluestone straight back.
Yeah, we only did in the back. This is the first time seeing this.
Yeah, okay, so this is kind of a new,
Yeah.
new
I
application.
think we should keep this separate for now.
Okay, all right.
Back to the
Okay.
fence.
Yeah, we got to deal with the shutters, which I think should be fairly straightforward. The
And-
dormer and the fence. I think
Yeah.
those are the three things to get through.
So here's a rendering of the fence.
Could we
Okay.
stop there and talk
Can
Okay.
I
about?
stop about materials on the fence?
Yeah,
Yep.
Aluminum is not an approved material in any way, shape, or form
no,
Okay.
for, and the fence that you're putting there doesn't do respect to the vintageness or the antiqueness of the house. It's a modern fence. So you have the fence laughing at the house and the house laughing at the fence. It's not, they don't coexist. I
Okay.
think you should really, from my perspective, really follow the fence line of the original fence, even if you have to restore the fence in the front, so that it's all connected. And it also makes the property look larger if the fence is all contiguous. But certainly the aluminum is.
Yeah, totally fine. The aluminum was, so I originally suggested wrought iron. But it appeared, I was talking to Andrea about it. I don't think either they don't make that anymore or
oh, sure they do, yeah.
they're sure,
Make
okay.
wrought iron, it's just every piece has to be handmade.
Right,
It
so
would
it's
cost you more than the house, probably. to-
Yeah, Meredith,
astronomical.
yes, wrought iron is available, as is powder coated steel. But
Oh, steel.
I mentioned to you that the wrought iron fences, you really have to contact a foundry. And they do have ready-made products. But don't forget, this house is so old that any wrought iron that was used during the mid 1700s was extremely simple. I mean, the wrought iron has been available since, before Christ.
Yeah,
So
it might have even had. this-
expensive.
Yeah,
So yes, there was the steel that you mentioned, Andrea. I'm sorry, I forgot that portion. Like
It's
I
all right.
said, I'm totally fine with wood. I just, our architect put this in and I thought it would be good to not be as in your face with the fence. But I mean, if we can talk about location, if we can talk about, exactly what wood fence we should put in and if we should paint it black, maybe.
think-
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think the bigger conversation is this fence in this location appropriate at all, regardless of
Okay.
whether regardless of the material or the color. And the more I look at it, the more I see it. I know in the very beginning, we talked about could it move to the back of the garage. And there was no pool. The patio was a sixth of the size that it is now. I almost think that the fence, this gate, I can't think of a gated driveway in Hingham, though I'm sure a few exist. To me, I don't think that the fence where it is right now is appropriate at all, regardless of what material it is.
Meredith, what are you trying to accomplish with the fence? What's the purpose of it?
Some privacy for that side and also deterrence from entering the house on this side, which is, I think, more for family only. So I'd like people to approach the house on the new driveway side. So I wanted to fence off the driveway so that it wasn't as accessible, but I mean, at this point, I think we're just gonna nix the fence entirely, right? Just
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
why don't we just talk about, I mean, I could see potentially extending the existing fence that's there and maybe trying to frame in the driveway entrance a little bit better.
Yeah, but the existing fence in this image is out in front of all the plantings and the tree here, right?
Right.
There's no fence on that stone wall. So the existing fence kind of demarks the front of the house.
Right.
It's out there by the green line, yeah.
Right. Right.
You know, and then this thing jumps back to where it says SRW, stone retaining wall.
Right.
That's across the driveway. It's two separate things. But I think if you wanted to, you know, repair that white fence and extend it down and frame the driveway, you know, that may be something that is much more appropriate.
Sure.
And definitely would, yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, if we're extending that fence, 100% would.
And then what, paint it black potentially?
No, I mean, I think it sounds like what it should be the same as the trim, whatever that trim color is.
You want it to be a natural extension of the house, not a distraction or an afterthought, or, you know, it should all blend nicely together.
That's good feedback. Thank you.
So we're gonna move on from the fence for now.
Yes.
Yes.
The dormer. So there's an existing dormer and you're looking to enlarge it.
Yes. You can see here the existing, this is the house as is.
So the ridge line remains the same at the same elevation. It would just be extending it to the exterior wall.
But it looks like you're sloping the roof, or would the roof be with the?
So the current pitch of it, which you can hardly see from the street, is this and a gable roof, and we're gonna switch it to a shed roof. Because we have to extend it out as well to the right, which you wouldn't see from the road. But it does require changing the because it's larger, rather than making a huge peak and trying to continue a gable roof, doing a shed roof dormer. That the change would only be, it's 51 inches farther out. You can see it's a little bit closer to the chimney here. Because from the road, this still hits the exterior wall, but because of the angle of the road, you don't see, it doesn't look to extend all the way out.
Well, that's the oldest part of your house. How far in will it come in? Can't describe it well. The original line of the house, how far in will you go before you get to the dormer? You can't tell from the sketch.
I think you exactly where it was. We're not changing that.
I think
Is that
she
like-
means how many feet off of the gutter line is the base of the dormer.
Thanks.
So it will extend to the current exterior wall of the house that's in the back.
Could you accomplish what you need to, having it stepped in 1.5 or 2 feet?
No,
No.
Why?
because there's a stairway right there and it needs to be,
It wouldn't bring the stair height up to code. Or the head height in the stair.
Does it need to be brought up to code in an old
No,
house?
not in an historic building. Gary, you can probably speak to that.
it's a new
It's a new
staircase.
set of stairs.
I'm trying to understand the reason for the stairs. Are they going up to a third floor from a second floor stair? Is that, or is it the existing stair that you're enlarging?
There was a former set of stairs, existing stairs that went up to the attic that didn't meet code.
There were 2 sets of stairs that didn't meet code.
So we've relocated one and would like to bring it up to code.
Yeah, is it the riser and run? I'm trying to understand what's wrong, why it isn't, why is it a code issue?
6'8" head height, and because the stairs 6'6",
Yeah.
6'6" head height, and because the stairs are against the wall,
It hits the slope of the roof.
it hits the
too
slope of
early.
the roof.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a plan, would you, which would show that, which should show the relationship of the stair to the back wall of the old house?
I mean, this would be the best.
You zoom out.
All right, you drive.
I mean, oftentimes in these houses, they had the slope of the stair parallel with the slope of the roof. You know, you'd be rising up underneath the sloped roof.
So the stair comes, it's hard to say, but like, it's hard to show you, but the stair is facing us right now.
So there'd be a landing halfway up the second floor underneath the attic, and then you'd have you could step it up parallel to the slope of the roof to another landing, right? I think
So-
what I had heard earlier is that there's some serious discomfort about extending the shed dormer out to the face of the wall, the back wall of the house. Usually the dormers are stepped back in a foot or two, probably 2 feet plus, you know, so that the shed dormer doesn't look like an extension of the rear wall. You have the roof itself and the gutter line, you know, continuing all the way across. I can see from this sketch where there'd be an issue with the form and the massing on the outside of the house.
And what, how far from the side of the house is the dormer? Is it
It's
stepped
probably-
in quite a bit?
Yeah, it's probably in probably 1.5 feet, 2 feet.
From the side?
From the side of the house?
From I'll say the gutter line.
No, from the side of the house?
It's like 7 or 8 feet in.
It's gotta
Oh.
be-
Yeah, you're talking about from this side of the house, right?
From the
Like,
left side, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably more than that, probably.
yeah, it's,
I don't know, 12 feet maybe.
I just measured it. It's 8 feet in.
Yeah, one of the things that's concerning about changing the upper portion of this portion of the house is that this is the original house. This south elevation is the oldest of the this set of rooms, and this elevation is the oldest, and sort of change it on the roof line, I think would be very noticeable if looking at it down the street. It's too bad. Do you have a plan that would help us understand what you're trying to do? I'm wondering if there's flexibility.
I
in the
kind of
plan
think we
that-
understand what they want to do. It's just that it's not in keeping with it
Right.
for the structure.
I was
wonder if
thinking there
are
might be
other
an
solutions
alternative
that
plan.
might- Yeah, other solutions, because
Yeah, I was thinking more in terms of an alternative plan that might work within the slope of the roof. Or a smaller dormer. Right now, that dormer, the existing dormer that's a gable end dormer, is that on top of an existing stair?
No,
That would be just letting light into the attic?
correct.
not really sure what the purpose is. It doesn't seem to be original.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose is. I mean, it wasn't a finished space. I mean, it was, I don't know, storage up there.
Yeah, well, it's centered on the width of the original house, so it would let light into the upper attic.
Yeah, but yeah,
So on this sheet, I'm looking at the bottom right drawing where you've dashed in the existing over top of what the new proposed is. And it looks like the existing steps back 51 inches.
Yeah,
And what I'm hearing is, I think I think the commission may be open to enlarging this dormer a little bit. I don't hear a lot of consensus on the shed. I don't hear any consensus on bringing it to the back wall. But if there's a way to reduce that 51 to maybe 24 or something, enlarging it in some other way, there may be some consensus with that. And, there's flexibility with the code because it is an existing home. I mean, sorry, a historic home,
Mhm.
but
How would
bringing
it
to the
affect your
back
daily
wall,
life?
bringing it to the back wall and having a shed on this period house really isn't. I don't think there'll be a lot of consensus for that.
so just thinking of other ways to gain height, could we bring that, I suppose, we could possibly bring that ridge higher on the roof line or closer to the higher roof line? That may actually help us. So,
it's hard. It's hard to imagine that. I mean, with proper elevations, it would be useful to be able to compare some options, you know, from the back and from the side, just so we can visualize it. I think it's hard for some of us to see it.
Mhm.
I mean, just like we're looking for some space at the gutter line, we'd be looking for some space from the ridge as well.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, I think that may help us. So I think I just need to get out there and do a field measure and you know, see if that adjustment can work.
And I would say minimum, the minimum.
Yep.
That you can get away with.
Yep. Yeah, all we're trying to do is achieve that proper head height. So yeah, so we wouldn't want to go any more than that.
and then I think the last thing is the shutters. I don't think I heard a lot of concern.
Uh,
See the hardware.
The shutters, yeah.
and the patio too.
Is Gary still on? Can he opine about the dimensions of the shutters versus the dimension of the windows?
Yeah, I could. What you have proposed here is were these from the mill in New Hampshire, these Beacon Hill shutters? Is that what you're looking at, in the shutter dogs and the pintles and what have you? These came from that spec that they have. Typically you know, when you draw the elevation of the window, you're going to want to have the shutters meet in the middle and be half the width of that casing width. So you're going to have to take a pretty good look at the dimensions of the windows so that they have the right throw, the pintles have the right throw, meaning the offset from the face of the casing, and so the shutters can lie back on a slight angle, which gives them some depth. But if you were to have a measured drawing of the window and you took it up to the Beach River Mill, they could size the proper shutter and do the proper profile of the shutters.
Yeah, so Gary, maybe before you were on, the window, there is a measured drawing. The window, the dimension says 2.6, but they're saying, or 2.8, but they're saying that includes the trim. So the shutter itself is 2 feet, because if you measure the glass, or the shutter itself is 1 foot, because if you measure the glass, it's 2 feet. So if they were right in on the inside edge of the frame, folded them in, it would be the 2 feet. But
I guess there's the glass and then there's the styles, right? I guess you want to be from casing interior to casing interior.
Right.
Is ideal, what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Usually you take the width of the pane and then you add 2 inches, but I'd have to see the detailed elevation of the window, and that you could properly size it based on the sash size and the pane size and the sash size. 2 feet doesn't sound like a good number.
it seems like it should be 2.2 or 2.4.
Yeah, exactly. They're missing it. You have to have the width of the vertical style on the sash included. So if you have, how many panes are in these windows? Are they 4 panes wide or 3 panes? What are these?
They're 5 panes wide.
5 panes wide.
Yeah,
So-
remember, they're all getting restored right now.
Yeah, that's great. So if you take the 5 panes, you can take the width of the pane to the center of the muntin, and then you have to add the width on each side of the vertical style on the window, which is probably 1.125 or so. And then that'll get you your casing width. When the shutters close, they have to sit just right on the inside dimension of the casing. They overlap the casing a little bit.
So we 100% agree with all of that. And I mean, we will triple check the dimensions before we even order them and talk to Beach River Mill. So if we can like close the book on this
Well,
and
Yeah,
like assure you guys that it will be the proper width.
Yeah, I think I think we could probably make a motion on that and maybe follow up with Andrea with a shop drawing from the mill. And just make sure that we're including the styles on the side, because
Right.
it seems like the shutters are a few inches short.
Right, I would agree. A sharp drawing, I think, is an excellent idea. Then you can tie down all the dimensions of the window and the shutters and the hardware locations and the dogs too. So I think it'd be a great idea for sharp drawings.
So the one other thing is the patio. This is, I mean, ignore the fence, obviously. View from the road. You wouldn't be able to see the pool at all because it's tucked off to the side.
Is the square footage of the patio greater than 2,500 square feet?
I
I don't know.
had that on my last one and
And I'm curious, are the light gray area at the bottom of the drawing, is that the big wide stairwell that goes up to the patio?
yes, this is a big wide stairwell. I think priority for us this month is this portion here. So this is the existing patio, and this is what we'd like to extend, this part.
So just to clarify, we're seeking approval or to this, this back kitchenette area tucked behind the building.
That's already there.
Yeah, right. So this is already existing. We just want to convert it to a kitchen.
Which you wouldn't see from the road, so it's,
Behind the house.
And then if you follow the cursor, we're staying north of this hand right now. Everything down here we're not asking for review of this at the moment,
Okay.
or potentially not at all. So if we could just focus on extending this patio to this inside corner, that would help us.
And what is F? Is that just a planting area?
Just a lounge area, couches,
No lighting?
no lighting.
And the stairwell, it looks like you have a straight stair and then a curved stair adjacent to it. Is that the plan for the stairs?
Yes.
we would like it to be, the house is extremely boxy, so we're trying to achieve a little bit of a curvature so that it doesn't feel quite so boxed.
One thing that I might suggest, if I could, looking at one of the constraints in terms of the site plan review is that if you disturb site disturbance or criteria is that if you disturb more than 2,500 square feet at a 10% slope or 5,000 square feet less than 10%, you have to go in for apply for site plan review with the planning board. So that's why I was asking the question earlier while you're looking at these improvements, because what will be requested is an evaluation and analysis of how you're dealing with the stormwater and the rain, roof water, and site drainage, keeping all of it within the confines of the property. So I would suggest that you run the calculations on that and check in with the planning board staff relative to whether you have to do that, so you don't get down the road and find you have to come back. And
I can show you right now. So this is 23.2 square feet. And then this is existing and this is 36 feet right here. So 20.
I'm looking at everything, including the pool.
Right. What we're
all the-
asking for tonight, though, is 828 square feet.
No, but what I'm saying is that in order to, the Historic Districts Commission purview is what you're looking at right now, but there's also the planning board purview relative to site plan review that would involve the whole site disturbance. So I'm just suggesting that you go in and have that evaluated now.
But even before that, I understand what we're getting at, Gary. We're looking at a finished plan. Our packet shows it at about 4 inches by 5 inches in black and white. We can't read dimensions. I'm assuming that there's a railing around that seating area F.
Right.
We don't have any of this information. You're also talking about this being phased. We're looking at a full build. So is that landscape area L part of the initial build, or is that phased? We need to know, we need to understand and see what's being built before you turn this house over, right? Because that's all, you know,
You need the whole
have
picture.
to understand more of that information. We're gonna wanna know about that railing. You know, and if you're gonna build L, and it sounds like you have a landscape architect on board, they should probably be at the meeting, this meeting, to help present, so we have an understanding of, you know, the types of that vegetation, how big it is, you know, that type of stuff as well.
What about
Cause I
railing?
look at the rendering with the gate and the fence, and all I see is like massive slabs of steps, so I don't know how, go down one page.
I would say also just right off the bat that the stairs that you're presenting for phase one are not really in keeping with a 1700s colonial. They look quite contemporary, so that's something to keep in mind as you.
And needs to be a 6-foot fence around that pool.
Well, I think that's what this gate's trying to do. That's why I think it's I feel like you have a final build plan. We need to know what's going to be built when this changes hands.
So gonna be, this planting is already here. That's not
So that's,
adjusted. That's already there, so you won't see any of the steps.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately, with plantings, we can't really take them into consideration because plantings die back and then you're left with the landscape. Someone else doesn't upkeep them. And so unfortunately, I do believe those stairs are going to be in our purview. But in addition to that, we need to see details with the fencing and, you know, pictures of the materials and are the stairs made out of, what are they made out of? And that kind of thing.
And then I guess the only, to tag on to Gary's comment and Tracy's comment is, you know, looking at this holistically is the driveway is 2,000 square feet or something like that. So you're really up against that number already. So I think you guys need to be careful and look at that and figure out how that there's a house around the corner from between you and me that learned the hard way with that number. They started their project and then they got delayed for a long period of time through site plan review. So I think you got to definitely take that into consideration.
and Dan, you're talking about the new driveway over to the barn.
Yeah, the new driveway. Because that's around 2,000 right there. So you're probably going to be over the 2,500 number with what I see you doing.
Right.
I make one comment stepping back a little bit when Meredith said that, you know, the house was boxy and she wanted to kind of mitigate that to make it not so boxy. I think given the age of the house and given the fact that it's one of the more iconic ones in Hingham, you have to be careful how much you want to attack the provenance of the house. I think you have to accept what you bought and you can only do certain things within the purview. You want it to be still iconic. That's its charm. So I think what you want to do, you have to be careful that you're not making it come into the 21st century in an aesthetic point way. Did I say? I think you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point. We get your point.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So I think we'll revisit it, and those are good points about the 2,500 square feet. So we'll, you know, certainly check that and touch base with planning. I think that's everything on the list, right?
Yep.
I think that's it from us.
So I think are we waiting for the shop drawing on the shutter? Is that where we left it, Andrea? You're on mute.
I thought it was that I
Yes.
was gonna give the shop drawings to Andrea for you guys to.
Yeah, the only thing is, I think, I really, because these are gonna be custom, I think it's really important to make sure that, you know, the commission sees the shop drawings first. And, you know, making sure that everything is in sync. I mean, I, you know, would hate to cost you money, you know, additional funds. if it's not correct, so. I think we can do that. I can probably circulate the shop drawings so that, you know, you'll get feedback so that it doesn't need to take an additional meeting. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah, I can review it. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Patio, we're gonna revisit.
So,
I would almost consider that a separate application.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think Meredith and Chris, you've done a great job. I think we need to probably close out this application and begin with a new one with the other elements that you're talking about, so that we have, I think right now we've got so much to look at. And I think if we can limit the scope, that would be helpful. So why don't you come in to the office and we can discuss this and get you set up for another application.
Terrific.
It's great.
All right. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to run to another meeting. Thank you. It's good to talk.
Thank you, Gary.
Great,
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Next item, continued from January 9th. It seems forever ago.
Yeah.
48 Cottage Street. So this was our site visit Saturday. Who's here?
Jonathan, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me? I don't know if anybody else is, but yeah, so I put the stakes out there and hopefully you guys have an opportunity to go by and take and let me know what your thoughts are. Do you want me to review it again or?
I'm good unless anyone else on the commission wants some review.
I was to say, I can't remember if we asked for any, or for them to look at anything and adjust anything. I don't think there was, but
Yeah, I didn't have any notes on any adjustments. We had one, minor comment with the railing. I'll look into that, but for the historic board criteria, I'll hold off on that. To be honest with you, I'm probably going to try to change it to a normal rail. For some reason my computer's acting up here. Not sure why. All right, hold on. So you guys go ahead, what your comments were for the site visit?
I think everyone was a little surprised at how much elevation change there was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the actual the garage sits way down. And even from the street, I mean, you can see it on this drawing. You're way up here. So the garage is going to be, and it's pretty far away. But I was actually surprised with, and I don't know if you guys were, they had the, what do you call the trampoline in back there. So when I put the farthest stake that located this corner, and I knew the garage, went towards the left side of the property a bit. I was surprised at how far in it actually was, but again, you guys are the ones that needs to be impressed, so not me. So you guys let me know what your concerns are.
one of the things that jumped out at me was, I know that it was kind of forced upon you with the property line setback that you're bound by, but how far you stepped it off, I think helps. It really brings that sunroom addition in and back and kind of keeps it out, kind of helps with that natural sight line between the properties, and then you step the garage in further. So I think with the elevation changes and the step backs and the shape and form, I think it's really appropriate and well done and really well thought out project. Totally get how they're raising up the yard better, and it's a lot of building going in, but it's also going to give them a lot more yard space that's actually functional and usable for them. So
And it feels, when I staked it out, I felt like, wow, this, there's a lot of stuff here, but the bigger piece is that arcade that connects the two. Again, that's more of an outside space, just with a covering over it. So, and that's designed to be very subtle. And the bigger element for that is because of its stepping, especially, and Catherine had mentioned, you can see, from that right side, which yes, you can. But because of the way it's designed in the corner of the new sunroom on the first floor here, you won't really notice that the garage is actually connected to the house. You'd have to walk on the then down to see that. So that was one of the other pieces that I was happy to see when I staked it out. So, anyways.
May I ask a question about, there's a little road that goes in up behind, which we assume is private.
Uli's driveway. It's a driveway to the property behind. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, there are two houses up there that look at the back of this property, which are not our concern because it's not a public right of way. But it looks to me like it's going to look better. Like this addition is going to improve the view of this house for the people that are up in the back. It's just a better looking.
To be honest with you, I actually presented it to the Beckers. Like I said, they're friends of mine, so I wanted to get their understanding of the project before I even got it here. They were very happy with it. And
yeah,
I'm confident with what they. I don't know the neighbors to the right, but the Beckers are happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine, did you have any comments on the existing garage? You noticed?
Oh, yeah, I did notice that there was some wavy glass in the garage. I don't know, it was probably, I would say early 1800s, mid 1800s garage.
That would make it older than the house.
Oh, maybe they're salvage windows, I don't know.
Isn't the house 19 something?
Oh yeah, it's 1934 or something, isn't it? Or 40.
Yeah, that garage is, that to me looks like it was built in the 50s or
Yeah,
40s.
maybe the windows were salvaged, that would be possible.
Yeah, if you look close at the way the sills and everything were constructed, that's, to me, that's more indicative. I'm trying to find the picture there.
And then the only other thought I had is about the open air arcade, is that in the past we've seen these enclosed, and it ends up being that's a little thing that happens on this when we're not looking, and it ends up being an increase in massing. And so I guess I have concerns about the porticos that they eventually end up getting enclosed.
Not that you would do it, but
I was going to say, my 2 points to that is, first, that's what you guys are for. We don't want to find something in the hopes that someone doesn't change it. That's that's what the approval process is for. The second piece is the owners really wanted to connect this house with a heated space mudroom, and I got them not to. But there is, and honestly, I just talked to Patrick the other day. He sees all around him all these other garages that are connected. So I think what we've done so far is as good as I'm going to be able to get them to do, and I think if I push them, they're going to want to connect it. So that's what I would say to that. So there's a lot of examples in town with connected garages throughout the historic district nowadays. So I think for this one, I think it's a pleasing solution that they're happy with, but again, I would prefer to have it connected.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? All right, anyone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness for 48 Cottage Street in the Lincoln Historic District Extension Phase 3 for the plans dated 11/23/22 for a new first floor basement level addition in the rear yard connecting a new 2-car garage by an open covered arcade to the exterior.
There's a second?
Go, second.
All right, Carol, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Eric? You're on mute.
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
And it's an aye for me. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Next, 226 Main Street, which was our second site visit on Saturday. I saw them here earlier. There we are.
Here.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, can you see me? Oh, yeah, okay. Hello.
We can see you.
I'm sorry, we don't have our computer with us, so I don't have any screen sharing that I can do, but hopefully everyone had the materials that my wife had dropped off, if that's not
Yes,
true. Okay. So yeah, we're our intention is to demolish the garage that we have in the back of our house. Ultimately to rebuild, but most immediately we want to put a pool in the backyard. And I mean, the structure is kind of dilapidated. It's kind of on its last legs anyway. But that will allow access to the backyard to be able to put in a pool. And then I think our ultimate plan would be to rebuild. Of course, we come back to the commission with any plans to do that.
But this application is just a demo. We're not looking
Just a
at-
demo, that's it, yep.
All right, because I see a pool on the site plan, but we're just looking to demo the garage.
Yeah, we thought that might be helpful for you to see kind of what our ultimate thinking is, but right now it's just a demo. Yeah.
Does any of that retaining wall need to be demoed in this phase, or you get the equipment up there in the width of the garage?
We're gonna leave the retaining wall to get the equipment up there. And then I guess, figure it out from there.
And the shed, right?
Yeah, the shed.
Shed'll go, yeah.
I think my son could have pushed that shed.
I think my son did, actually.
All right. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I thought based on the condition of the building and the age of the home, that the garage, it would be, an appropriate request to demolish the garage.
And what a wonderful spot for a pool. Top of the world.
Thank you. The view is better in February than it is in
Yeah, I bet.
July, but
So Andrea, this is a certificate. What are we approving here?
let's see, a certificate of appropriateness
Of appropriation? I
for
didn't
the
know there was
demolition of the garage.
Anyone want to make a motion? Yeah, let me find the drawing. I don't think there's a
I
date.
think Dan's doing one, but you're on mute.
I'll make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness for 226 Main Street located in the Pear Tree Hill District to demolish an existing garage located at the rear of the building. Existing site walls to remain intact.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, Carol, how do you vote?
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
and
Aye.
it's aye for me.
And we'll be expecting our invitation to the pool anytime now.
Got it.
hopefully soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we're just,
Don't leave just yet.
hi,
We'll
Dan.
pop back up.
Hi, Deirdre.
All right,
Can I,
Hi, everyone.
Does Tracy know about this?
yes,
yes, Mr. Chairman, can I just begin
Sure.
talking about giving this a little context, please?
Yep.
I essentially screwed up by not having this on the agenda. I had spoken with Jennifer and also Ben, and I talked about this meeting, that this would be, I'd put it on this agenda. Well, I screwed up because I forgot. And so, where we are is this. I think in the very beginning, we weren't sure. I spoke with Ben. We weren't sure whether a hearing was necessary. And, you know, this is up to the commission. But Ben thought it would be a good idea just to go ahead, bring it before the commission. But tonight, you know, given what you think about the project and the changes, you may choose to say that this can be approved administratively, and that, you know, this does not require commission decision, or the opposite. So, but because the time is a little bit short, we need to make accommodations. If you want this to go like a normal hearing, then the accommodations, we'd have to make accommodations time-wise for them. So, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okie dokie, thanks.
All right.
So we're treating it like a normal hearing and giving them a time accommodations. We're gonna pre-approve. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that you may, once Ben makes his presentation and you talk to Deirdre, you may just determine that that we can just approve this administratively.
Yeah, that it doesn't need an official hearing.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, 'cause
So we
they-
can ask questions and proceed as normal.
Yes,
My understanding is it's a ADA issue. All
Yes.
right. Ben, are you presenting?
Oh, I thought I would open.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Sure,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Deirdre Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of the Hingham Historical Society, and we are the proud stewards of the Benjamin Lincoln House, the National Historic Landmark at 181 Lincoln Street. And we appreciate your time tonight. For those, you are sure plenty busy with your own meetings, but we were in front of the planning board this past Monday evening. We had requested, after 2 years since our initial permitting, which was done, was expeditiously done in 2020, so that the Woodards, the last tenants, the last Lincoln descendants to live in the home, we could close on the house at the end of 2020. And over the last 2 years of work at the house, cataloging the house, fundraising efforts, and pilot educational programs, we went before the planning board for a site plan modification, as well as a modification to our A3 special permit for parking. And what was decided on Monday night is that we were granted an approval of our site plan requested modification from the planning board, which primarily involved relocating the accessible route to the home from the originally anticipated back door to the front entrance. And we can show you those plans. It also involved removing the very large arborvitae, because that is overgrown, and really we're going to replace that with historically appropriate flowering trees that had been there earlier. And then we were granted a A3 special permit decision to reduce the on-site parking by 1 space, so that we could minimize the changes to the landscaping of that historic vista of the house as much as possible, including the garden by the back patio, which was once a woodshed. And we could make use of our adjacent parking at the old ordinary property across the street at 21 Lincoln Street. So if you would allow me to share my screen, I can bring up the site plan, and we could, and then I'll turn it over to Ben, who is intimately involved with all of these details. And we're happy to take any questions about the project itself. Okay. Can everybody see that?
not yet. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay,
We have the application in front of us.
Great. All right, let me just do a little driving here, sorry. Okay. All right, Ben, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Ben Wilcox, 36 North Street, representing the Hingham Historical Society. What we're looking at here is the site plan that the planning board has just approved. And in red, it's showing the change we'd like to make to have the accessible route now to the front door. The logic behind that was, in the beginning, we thought the easiest way would be come in the back door. We had to make that decision quick in order to get the sale through for the back in December of 2020. When we looked at it for a while, it was taking up too much room in the patio, and we realized that anyone that was actually in a wheelchair had very limited access by coming in through the back door. All they will see is the kitchen. If we come in the front door, handicap access will allow them to see the entire grand entrance, the grand staircase, and both the formal parlors on both sides of the building, and actually have visible lines of sight to Benjamin Lincoln's own office and into the kitchen from a hallway. What we've designed here is actually not a ramp, but a slope. We won't need handrails on this because the length of it is enough so we can comply with handicap regulations without handrails. And what you're looking here is a mock-up of the elevation. And because of the length of the slope, we'll only be coming up about 12 inches above grade to meet the existing front floor elevation. That same walkway will continue around to the patio as it showed on the site plan. The edge of the ramp will be small blocks of granite to sort of match what's there on the existing foundation. And the landing itself will be a granite perimeter with a brick inlay in the middle of it because of the size of it. The existing landing that we have there now will be brought out to the front of the new landing just to preserve the historic nature of the existing landing. And of course, the door surround will be raised to now land on top of the landing. And that's pretty much it on that. Any questions?
I have a quick question. The edging on the to match the foundation, that we're not talking about cobblestones, we're talking about an elongated, like a curb kind of granite block.
Yes, correct. So the blocks on the house, which are probably not original to the house, but probably installed later when they went to a full basement, they're 2 or 3 and 4 feet long, and that's what we're planning for the ramp, the edge of the ramps.
Perfect, thank you.
What you might not have noticed on the site plan is a recommendation from Historic New England to pull the ramp away from the building to have as little contact as possible to the clapboards. So there will be a 16 to 18 inch gap on the back side of the ramp.
Yeah, on that photo on the right, it looks like there's a stone walkway or something there now, and there's some. There we go. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good photo to give you a better idea.
So
The
the
existing shrubs
is the
will be,
ramp going at the stone walkway, or are you gonna remove those shrubs and put it a little closer to the house?
Tracy, the plan is to take those shrubs, if we can prune them down, to move out to the very edge where the people are standing. The ramp is going to go where the shrubs are. And some of that gravel walkway will remain, so you have access at grade rather than using the ramp.
Okay.
So none of the grading, the slope of the property in front is being changed, just sitting on top.
The grade where you're seeing those people stand, that's the exact grade it'll be in the future. It'll be continuous across the front of the house, just like the front photo shows.
Chair, as I look at this, it seems to me like it's a certificate of non-applicability with maintenance, repair, replacement using same design material colors and the proposed work design materials colors according to approved guidelines. I see this as administrative certificate for Andrea.
I agree.
I agree.
I believe so.
Okay. Anybody differ, Eric?
Nope, agreement.
Okay, Mary Ann?
I agree.
Okay. Did we hit everybody, I think?
Mhm.
All right, so we don't have to make a motion. We're just going to, I'll just take care of this tomorrow in the office.
Nice.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate that.
Well-
And we hope you'll come visit us. We
We
are,
will,
now
we
we got the
will.
green light. We'll be scrambling and hoping for more days like today, and will be a pleasure to welcome you all to the home.
Thank you.
Great.
Andrea.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all so much.
Thanks, Deirdre. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, so this is, I have nothing else. This went very smoothly, tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
except for the beginning.
Except for the, oh, we can't talk about that, but
Oh, I was
think-
talking about before you even logged on, Andrea.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
missed the excitement.
What did he do?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I think it was just ranting. That's what it seemed
Well, I
like.
think it's a pre-recorded video just
words.
playing.
Yeah.
Bad words?
Not a
There were
bad-
two of them, actually. There were two. There was one
Really?
before him, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
that's
strange.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so sorry I missed that.
No, you're not.
Anyway, so here is the other thing I want to mention. Since we've lost Miss Tracy, and I am just, it's just very difficult to keep up with two commissions. She was really she was important as far as making sure the minutes were done. And so I am behind. So I am now working on getting minutes to you for the past few months. And so before the next meeting, so that you'll have plenty of time to review them. But that's the situation. So I apologize, but I kind of am swamped.
Andrea, you do a wonderful job. Don't apologize. I want to ask you though, if we haven't gotten the minutes back to approve, you can still go ahead and issue the appropriateness certificates of appropriateness
Yes,
to the
because
homeowner. It doesn't hold them up.
No, thank you
Okay.
for asking that, because I take it word for word from the recording.
Right, okay. Do you want us to help in any way? Can we do it?
It's all right. I appreciate the offer. But
I
yeah,
heard Dan offer one time. I remember that.
I think there's software that will do it.
Yeah.
oh my God, I would only wish, but anyway, so. All right, so that's that. And thank you, everybody. And thanks, Eric, for joining us, even though you're on vacation.
Not a problem. Happy to do
All
it.
right, well, that's just great. Okay, good night, everybody.
Oh, we have to adjourn.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes, we have to adjourn.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That's a first, is there a second?
Second,
All right, Carol,
Aye.
Catherine,
aye.
I'll say Mary Ann,
Hi.
and I, for me. All right, have a good night.
Night, night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.